I want you to be mistrustful, suspicious, untrusting, wary, distrustful of alliteration. Hi, I'm Jim W6LG, your ham radio Elmer here on YouTube. Welcome to my radio room in Rocklin, California. I want you to be all those things, especially when you watch a review on YouTube. And it's a long explanation as to why, but here goes. Let's say that I was the manufacturer of the Rocklin Rover. And the Rocklin Rover is an antenna coil that sits on a platform on the ground, and there's a whip that comes out the top. You supply the whip, I supply the coil. And let's say that the cost for me to manufacture that coil is $40, and shipping is another $10. So I've got $50 into each one. How can I advertise that and get the name out there so people know about the Rocklin Rover? Advertising in QST is not an option. Relatively small audience. It's not targeted. A full-page ad could be $5,000 to $10,000 easy. And it may not get that many impressions. But if I give that away to a bunch of the talking faces on YouTube for free, I may get 100,000 views. Now, the coil that I'm manufacturing, the Rocklin Rover, just thought up that name, is a highly inefficient coil, and it's inefficient on purpose. The reason for that is I want it to have the lowest SWR, so I've designed it to have a low Q, low efficiency, because I want it to be easy for the ultimate user to tune it. So by making it inefficient, it means that tapping the coil doesn't necessarily have to occur at exactly that spot. It can occur one turn up or one turn down, and the SWR will still be low. To that end, I've made the diameter of the coil relatively small, and I've put the turns close to each other. So the Rocklin Rover has a very low Q, a Q of 5. And by doing that, it is presenting the lowest SWR. Now, the guys who review my Rocklin Rover will say that it was easy to tune, had the lowest possible SWR. That's the only thing they can measure, and that is the only thing that the purchaser can measure is the SWR. And by the way, SWR does not necessarily occur. Lowest SWR does not necessarily occur at the resonant point. So if I go through the plan of developing the Rocklin Rover, it cost me $50. Let's set the price at $300. Nah, let's go higher. $449, $499. Yeah, $499. We'll set it at $499 because if it was any good, the price has to be high. So the higher the price, the better the antenna, right? And then I give it to various talking faces, and they get it for free. So they're getting in the box a $500 antenna, presumably. And they're going to say nice things about it because, after all, it's a $500 antenna and the SWR was the lowest. It may not radiate worth a darn. Here's another thing I did. I put the coil at the bottom of the antenna, which is the worst place to put the coil. Best place would be higher in the antenna radiating element. Why is that? Because where does most of the radiating occur on an antenna like that? It could be a dipole, as we've talked about. Look at every antenna kind of like a dipole. So it could be a dipole. If you put the coils close to where the feed point is, the efficiency goes down because that's the point where most of the radiating occurs. That's the high current location. Same thing with the vertical. If I put the coil at the bottom, it ruins the efficiency a bit, not tons, but enough. But it makes it easier to tune. So I've got this inefficient antenna. I'm giving them away to, let's say, 20 guys. 20 guys, my cost is 20 times 50. I've got $1,000 into that. If I advertise in QST, it could be $10,000 for a full page ad. I get the name out there, put it in a pretty box, put a gift in the box, maybe some candy or something, and give it to the talking guys. And they give it a good review. They're going to say things like, it's a game changer. Game changer. It's a new design. It's revolutionary. The best ever. The best antenna for 2024 and 2025. Guaranteed. This is the one to buy. Why would they say that? Well, because the SWR is the lowest. They got it for free. It's a $500 antenna. It must be good, right? Could you imagine how they would feel about it if it was a $100 antenna? That wouldn't be any good. So in the beginning, I said, be mistrustful, suspicious, untrusting, wary, distrustful, leery of reviews that say things like, the best radio for 2024. By the way, I watched one of those, and the guy had not a clue about what he was talking about. It was just awful. He was talking about transceivers that were, one of them was 15 years old in its design. I'll give them out. I'll get all this advertising. Now, how can you tell? As the consumer, I've told you to do all those things, mistrustful, suspicious, so on and so forth. Well, one way is to Google the Rocklin Rover and see how many are reviewing it at about the same time. Hold off buying it. It'll still be there maybe 6 months from now. And then look at who all is reviewing it. If you got, I won't name names, but if you got 15 different guys and they're all saying it is the best antenna and they're all saying it at about the same time, let's say July of 2024, which is what it is now, be very suspicious of that. Be very leery of that, because that means they all got them in the mail. I mailed them out. These guys are doing the reviews, and it's the best portable antenna, the antenna for POTA, lowest SWR, very efficient antenna. I work the world with it. Here, look, I'm on 20 meters or 10 meters, and I'm working a guy in Europe. Big deal. So be careful about what you buy and what a reviewer says. What does that reviewer know about antennas? Probably nothing. Almost guaranteed nothing. It is just get to know the kind of product that you're looking for. If it's an antenna, know what makes a good design. High Q, putting the coil in the right spot. SWR doesn't mean much in terms of the efficiency of the antenna. If it's any number of things, a switch, a microphone, get to know the product before you buy it. Ask others who have one, but also be very leery of what they might say about how well it works. It's hard to tell because the superlatives that are used by the reviewers are just over the top. And maybe that's a clue. If it says it's the best antenna for 2024, I would not buy it. That's just me. Um, it it is probably not the best antenna. The best antenna might be a huge Yagi, certainly not a little coil with a whip coming out the top. Or if the guy says, I put it on the air and I worked 20 countries in 5 minutes, well, maybe he did during a contest. Or here we are at the peak of the sunspot cycle, and literally you could put out that wet noodle and you're going to work the world with it. That's not going to happen at the bottom of the sunspot cycle, and we'll get there at some point. All right. I hope you won't be mistrustful, suspicious, untrusting, wary, distrustful, leery of me. I am Jim W6LG, your ham radio Elmer here on YouTube, and Rocklin Antenna at Rocklin Antennas, where we manufacture the Rocklin Rover. No, we don't. Please subscribe 73 W6LG.